What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Successes Within Reach podcast, episode 6, King Mentality. I'm your host, Shannon Smith. This evening, we have two outstanding men's coaches here for this perfect topic to open up this men's forum for this episode. First up, we have Mike Williams. He is the CEO and founder of Breakthrough Kings, which is a life changing men's coaching program that helps them to address their traumas and overcome barriers in order to create a not only a portfolio that is going to allow them to be profitable, but also to lead their families and lead their households and reclaim their crowns. Mr. Williams, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, baby. We rebuilding kings one crown at a time, man. Appreciate for
Yes,
being on
sir. Yes, sir.
back in the building. I'm excited.
Next up, we have RJD. Mr. Dockery is a men's life coach as well. He is also the host of the Imperfect Gentleman podcast. Mr. Dockery, how you doing, sir?
I'm blessed and highly favored, King. How are you?
Yes, sir. Couldn't be better. I'm blessed. I'm blessed.
Yes, indeed.
Want to let you all know you can follow along on www.facebook.com/SIWR podcast. Excuse me. Hit that like button, hit that heart button, hit that share button, and you can also follow along and ask questions for the panelists, and we'll do our best to get to them and answer them. Everybody ready?
Yes,
sir.
get it.
All right, let's get into it. First question is, what do you believe are the biggest barriers that are stopping men today from being successful? What do you think are the biggest barriers that are stopping men today from being successful? Mike, we'll open it up with you.
That's dope, man. That's an interesting question. Because honestly, we have to look at personal barriers and things that haven't been uncovered yet, right? Or things that you think aren't relevant for success.
Mhm.
Right. So recently, a friend of mine's talked about, we had a discussion about therapy. It's relevant. It's important because there are a lot of deep rooted things that we haven't dealt with. We
Mhm.
have, buried them deep, forgot about them, kept muscling forward, but not realizing how much they're affecting you. And I say that because, as a kid, I watched my father abuse my mother often, to the point where one day she, wasn't moving.
Mhm.
Watching the police take him, in handcuffs in the cruiser, and him driving away in the cruiser, smiling about the incident. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow.
So, I never really dealt with that.
Man.
And the main thing that I would focus on is that I didn't want to commit the relationships. Right. I
Mhm.
wouldn't commit the relationships. I couldn't go below the surface because I felt that I didn't want my relationship to turn out like that.
Mm.
Right.
Mhm.
So not realizing that the same commitment issues was also spilling over into my business, was
Mhm.
also spilling over into my career. I
Mm.
had commitment issues. I couldn't focus on the long-term game. I couldn't focus on the process, right? I couldn't focus on the different things that I had to do every single day to grow. So absolutely, those personal barriers that we've buried so deep, we got to dig them up and face them.
RJD, what you got, sir?
Ah, man, going behind Mike is it's always tough. I don't know why I even got on this panel with you two monsters, but me and in my short term of figuring this thing out, I like to say is that I found that is that a lot of men just don't understand the word purpose and what it means.
Mm.
Right.
Okay.
A lot of time, what the understanding is of you, the purpose gives you a direction in your life. So without
Mhm.
understanding what your purpose is, you're walking around aimless. And when you're aimless, you're prone to do a lot of things you're not supposed to do because there's no target, right? You're just walking around haphazardly. So without
Mhm.
without a target, without a goal, without a purpose in life, you're prone for failure. So
Mm.
my thing is I'm stressing, like, what is your purpose? Why are you here? Because honestly,
Mhm.
once you figure that out, the sky's the limit.
That's a fact.
Facts.
Fact.
Facts.
Purpose is everything.
All right. Mike kind of hit on this one in the last question, but what are some strategies that you think more men should implement to address childhood traumas? You
Mm.
know, a lot of guys don't understand that, many of the issues that they have, like you said, in their relationships, on their job and just in, making friends and, you know, different facets of their adult lives are really attached to childhood traumas that they never addressed. They never, dove into, they never overcame them. So, what are some strategies that you found and that you use to help your clients to overcome and to address and then overcome childhood traumas?
So that's what's up. Like I said, in the last question, therapy is important. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
put yourself in a position where it's someone's job to listen. It's someone's
Mm-hmm.
job to have, that a different viewpoint. Someone who's not trying to make you feel good. Someone who's not trying to not hurt your feelings, right? Someone whose profession is to listen to you, and really help you to really help you to understand what those issues are, and really help you to uncover strategies that can help you move forward. As a coach, that's what we do.
Hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
do a lot less talking. We do more listening than we do talking. And a lot of our clients, they end up solving their own problems because they start talking about things that they know they need to do. So you
Hmm.
look at
Mm-hmm.
smile like, okay, why are we not doing that? And when you get a third party to to look at that situation, you think differently about it, and like, what, let me get it together. You know what I mean? So find someone whose job is to listen to you and help them to uncover those issues that you've been avoiding for the longest time.
Yeah.
Um, Me myself, I like once again, it's like Mike hit it on the head, but it's you gotta tap in, right? I call it tapping in. You gotta tap into whatever that pain was, right? Whatever
Mm-hmm.
that thing you avoided, or that you put in the closet, or you put under the surface. You hide with masculinity. We got to figure out what that is, because the terminology. Whatever you however you do something is how you do everything. But I've
Mm,
changed it a little bit, and it's how you do or deal with anything is how you do or deal with everything. So if I see
Mm-hmm.
you starting to deal with things, you put things off to the side, I understand, like, you probably put some trauma off to the side as well. If you have a hard time not confronting some things, you probably hid from some things in your life. So that's how we start undressing things. We got to find out how you live your life and what are the things. And the only way you can do that is by sitting down, like Mike said, with a third party that's willing to listen it out. Because, like he said, the best coach is the one that listens the most.
Definitely. I think another thing too, if you haven't found that therapist yet, because it's a process. If you're going to find a therapist, just like if you're going to find a coach, you have to find that person that you link with. But in the meantime, try journaling. Write down your thoughts. Write down, what ticked you off, or what you think your triggers are. Write down the things that bring you joy in life. All of those things are things that you can then take to the table once you do find that therapist, or you do find that coach, that you really click with and you think has your best interest, and they're providing you the type of feedback that you need to in order to evolve and become productive.
yep.
So I think that's another thing, another tool that people can use as well.
Yep.
Absolutely. Writing is therapy for real, guys. Like, writing is like, I'm writing this book right now, and it's helped me, right? Like, help me like write in present time, like,
Mm,
just by getting the thoughts out and emotions that I felt currently. Yeah, I'm putting them into a book, but it still made me feel free. It's
mm,
amazing. It's a great therapy.
That's dope, man. Also the disc assessment, right? Different types of
mm-hmm,
assessments is a good place to start, so
Yes.
you can understand how your brain processes information, right?
mm-hmm,
Sometimes just getting a nice baseline of how your brain processes information, how you may tend to behave, what your actual values and motivators are. Sometimes we can't get the motivation and focus that we need because we ultimately don't pay attention to what really motivates us, right? Or
Mm.
we get so stuck in just survival mode, and
mm-hmm.
we totally forget about the motivators, the values, why we
Yes.
put here in the
Yeah.
first place. You know what I mean?
Yes.
As we get older, it's just adulthood taps in, being a man taps in, and then you throw black on top of that, all this stuff taps in, and it just truly just buries all the dreams and ambitions that you got. You know what I'm saying? So definitely get a nice little baseline of trying to understand what your personality is, because it works. It's real.
Yeah.
Definitely. So, why do you think men avoid outlets, such as mentoring, coaching, support groups, and therapy? In today's climate, it's become a hot topic, and a lot more people are addressing mental health. However, in our particular demographic, it's still somewhat taboo, or it's still somewhat, oh, I don't want to do that, or that's not for me. I can handle it on my own. Why do you think we have such a resistance to getting the help that we need, and addressing these mental and emotional issues?
Mhm. Go ahead, Robert.
Oh, okay. Well, I was writing down my notes for you saying just now because that where it came from for me is I believe it's the trauma, right? It's the trauma that our forefathers put onto our parents, which then led to us. Because think about it, your mother, my mother, and everybody else that looks like us said, "You better not tell your business in the street." We all know that same statement. So a lot of us are prone to saying, if it happens in the house, it stays in my house. So now that
Mm-hmm.
actually transports to what happens in my body, stays in my body. What happens in my mind, I don't let it out. I don't speak about it because I was taught it is not to be spoken about. So now
Mm-hmm.
we have a whole generation and we have a whole culture of men that just refuse to open their mouth about something simple that can help be helped because of the culture bias, because of
Mm-hmm.
the history, because of the trauma that our forefathers have been put behind. You know what I'm saying? It's a long lineage of pain that caused that.
Mm-hmm.
And real talk, man.
Interesting.
I think that a lot of number one, ego. Okay, ego's
Yeah,
big, and I think
number one.
that's a guy thing in general, but ego, and we believe that it's not relevant right now, right?
Okay.
I don't need that right now. Like,
Mm.
I'm focusing on what I need right now.
I
Like,
ain't got time for that, Mike.
I ain't got time for that right now. I gotta get to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got to put food on the table.
Yeah,
I ain't got time for that right now. That's not gonna serve me right now from where I am.
yeah.
And so you never make that initial step to get that training and support that you need because you believe that you can do it on your own, right? And a lot of
Mm.
people realize that if you could do it on your own, number one, we wouldn't be talking, right? If you could do
Mm-hmm.
it on your own, you wouldn't have a lot of the issues that you have right now because we try to go into this thing alone, and not really getting support, even just in the world in general, just as the man, he should be able to.
Mm.
He's built that way, right? He's the alpha, right? He's the head of the household.
Yeah.
And it's like, yo, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for my feelings right now because I got to go out in the
Mm.
world, and do what I need to do. So that's how I kind of look at it. It's just, a combination of ego and just saying, I ain't got the time for it. You know what I mean? So it's holding
Mm-hmm.
them back from making real breakthroughs because they're not trying to understand themselves.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
We think we got to figure it out, but we don't, man.
Yo, and that's
I
man. My
swear.
grandmother make you feel like you got what she say? A hard head make a soft behind.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
I've learned some
I
lessons
mean,
by not talking.
yeah. And I mean, that's everybody. Like when it comes to mental health and emotional health, I can definitely say deal with it or it'll deal with you.
Yes, it
You
will.
know, like
Yep.
you gotta get rid of that ego that Mike was just talking about. Everybody can't be Superman. We're just not built like that. We're human. We have emotions. It's stuff that pisses us off. It's stuff that makes us sad. We deal with grief. We deal with trauma. We deal with all of that. And sometimes you may not feel comfortable talking to a family member or your significant other. And it is what it is. Like you got to talk to somebody. You have to find a way to get it out because when you implode, there's nothing positive going to come from that.
Mm-hmm.
I can
No,
promise you that.
yeah,
Trust me, I
at
have
all.
been a member of that club. Like when you
Yep.
implode, man,
Mm-hmm.
it's
You hurt
not
the ones you
nice.
love.
Mm-hmm.
You hurt
Yeah,
yourself. You ended up regretting things you did. It's because it's not your behavior.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Sometimes low self-esteem can be the issue too. You ever
Mike,
see
you touching it now, Mike?
you ever see somebody that is a brother that appears to be confident, right?
Huh?
Hmm.
They have it all together,
Come
but
on, Mike.
they're that way because they are scared. They're that way because they have low self-esteem. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Hmm.
and there again, it brings out that ego again, just trying
Yeah.
to something you thought you're supposed to be, but you're not. It's kind of like Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson said he was the baddest man in the world because he was scared.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
scared of what people thought about him. He was scared
Yeah.
as a kid, being bullied. He was scared. He didn't ever want to be that way again. So he was
Mm-hmm.
scared. So every time he got in the ring, he's I'm gonna beat you before you have the opportunity to beat me because I'm shitting on myself right now. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
scared,
It's absolutely,
It's-
absolutely. And yo, Mike, I think you was talking to me like 2 years ago, bro. Like you literally just mentioned my whole life because I was literally one of them guys where I had to be out about and be out loud and above rambunctious because I didn't want you to know I was really insecure about myself. Right?
Mm,
I had to keep you so far off with my antics and my shenanigans and my
wow.
just being outside outspoken. I had to keep you so far away from what I was really scared of. right? So once I kept people far away long enough, oh, this is who he is. Now I'm stuck with the insecurities, and now I'm alone now, right? And it wasn't until 2 years ago when I had to really sit down with myself and say, you know what, young man, you got to figure this out. You got to really sit down and talk to somebody. And then, man, the tears that rolled out of this body, I think I grew up, right? I think I grew in 10 years. I tell you about it. I grew 10 years in 1 year.
Man, now that's growth.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's definitely growth.
Huge growth.
All right, next up we have, what are some ways to erase the boundaries of competition and replace them with the concepts of brotherhood? You know, there's a huge problem, I think, amongst us, that guys are afraid to share what they know with other guys. They're scared to help the next man with his business or help him out, just giving advice in general, because it's this, oh, you're my competition, I don't want you to pass me. You know, there's an old saying that people don't mind you doing well, just not better than them. You know, and it sucks, but for a lot of people, that's true. You know, and I really need people to understand there's room for all of us to eat. You know, I always use the analogy, you go to the grocery store, there's 50 different types of bread on the shelf. You're not going to have a company be like, oh, it's already, 30 other types of bread, so we're not going to make bread. It's room for all of us to eat. You know what I mean? So how do you think we can start erasing some of those competitive spirits and negative boundaries and replace them with brotherhood so that we can all get on, we can all eat?
Yes, sir. We doing it right now.
How about this? Yo, Mike, if you don't stop playing.
we got the Success is Within Reach podcast, right? We got the Imperfect Fathers, we got the Breakthrough Kings. This is streaming on my platform. I'm pretty sure RJD is doing a watch party or
Believe it.
My platform. I'm just here as a guest, but you know what? I'm going to share it as much as I possibly can because that's my brother. You know, why wouldn't I want to see him succeed? Why wouldn't I want to see him get the bag? And we just have to step back and realize that we're gonna get more by supporting each other, right? Communities build each other up. Like, we push each other up. You know what I mean? We pull each other up. And that's just how it has to be. And when that light bulb turns on, I'm telling you, man, it's gonna be out of control.
I think we gotta turn that ego off. Like Mike said, even in this space, we gotta get rid of the ego because first of all, what ego is, and I'm not religious, I got a relationship with God. So what ego to me is, like the letters are, edging God out. When you think about that, you like, I got to get rid of that because at the end of the day, what you can't control is where God's supposed to step in at, right? So you want to push him out. I don't suggest that. So at the end of the day, we got to make sure that we put ourselves in a position where we push each other and bring each other up. Because at the end of the day, without you, I don't have nothing, right? If the CEO don't go forth, what am I? I'm missing a brother in my network, right? Because I can't do it all. I can't motivate you the way Mike Williams motivates you. I can't assist you the way the CEO assist you. But if we all work together, you know what kind of monster we can form? You know what kind of Voltron we would turn into? And that's what we got to think about. We got to think about how big of a monster we can all become together if we merge and help these. And because think about it, we all do the same thing.
Yeah. In some capacity, yeah.
When I was building this platform, and we still building. This is the infancy stage, right?
Absolutely.
Such a vision for what all these platforms are gonna do, and you can imagine how many people I invited to come through, right? When we were just, putting the paint on the car, we were just putting. We were just, cleaning the seats. We was vacuuming and everything out. Right? When we were doing all of that, and I was inviting people, let's go for a ride real quick. Let's get on the live stream. Let's talk about what you do, right? Crickets.
Yeah.
I get back to you. Oh, word? You get back to me? I thought you was
right.
I thought you was in business. And so be it. So I'm like, all right, cool. So the best I can do is build something, right? Build it up, because what's going to happen? You're going to build it up. They're going to come back. And I'm going to embrace them with open arms and show them and be the example that we're talking about right now. How powerful community is, how powerful embracing my brother is, how powerful it is to encourage him and tell him to do what he got to do. Let's go. I'm here for you.
And you know what? For real, it's about personal growth in that space, because to be honest, it took me to grow personally in that very same space.
Yeah.
Because
Mm-hmm.
like when RJD and Perfect Gentleman first starting our podcast, like you said, I got crickets. Yeah, my closest friends, right, that I wanted to actually start
Mm-hmm.
the podcast with. But guess what? A year later, the very same friend was like, "Yo, by any chance, can I get on your show?" Um, and I ain't gonna lie to you, I had to learn to be like, "Yeah, all right." But I had to learn that. I had to grow and say, you know what? Yeah, come on. Because the other part of me, right, the immature part of me was like, man, you ain't want to holler at me last year. Now you see I'm
Exactly.
fine now you want to pull up a little bit. It's all
And
good.
I think that's a natural response though. That's how we built. It is what it is, but it shows growth when you can go back and say, you know what? Nah, scratch all of that. I'm
Yeah,
going in this direction. I'm going up. So yeah, come on with it.
absolutely.
But we definitely have to change that mindset. Like, I don't care what your niche is. I don't care if it's coaching basketball. I don't care if it's doing podcasts.
Yeah.
Trust me, from the janitor all the way to the CEO, there's
Yeah.
something you can learn from every single person. Nobody
Indeed.
knows it all.
Yeah.
You know,
Either.
I just posted recently, like, look at the Forbes list. Not one of those people are, as they say, self-made.
Right. Right.
You know, we have a comment here that says black men to reverse the curse of hating each other and being intimate with one another. We got a lot of skeletons which need to be revealed. Like,
Mm,
Yep. Yep. We were
that's
just talking about that.
yes,
Shit.
indeed.
yeah,
Real talk.
that's a great comment and a great point. Like we have to rebuild this brotherhood. Like you look at our communities back in the 40s and 50s and
Mm.
60s. Like,
Mm.
fam, all the men in the neighborhood knew everything that was going on.
Every child knew
Like,
every man in the hood. It
Yes, sir.
wasn't nothing funny. You know what I'm saying? Like it
exactly.
respect. It was
Like,
community.
they was protecting the community. The kids knew what it was. The ladies felt safe. Like, all of the guys looked out for each other. Somebody car break down, you got 10 people that's gonna jump on that car and get it back on the road. Like,
Hmm.
we have to get back to that sense of brotherhood,
Mhm.
because it's nothing that you can't do when you got that whole squad behind you.
Yep.
But
You know
just
what's so
one
crazy?
person.
I'm sorry. You know what's so
No, go
crazy?
ahead.
And I was just thinking as you said that, it's like the reason why we were so united back then because we was fighting such a big cause on the outside, right? We had to be united,
Woo.
right? We had to, because when Master and them came around, like it didn't matter what you had going on, you can get behind with,
Mm.
right? So as your brother, you had to bond, you had to make something with each other. So now we've so-called free, right? We've moved so far away from each other. We get these big houses. We've moved. We lost community, right?
Mhm.
Mm.
Because
But
we've got our wings.
But
Yep.
that's an interesting point that you brought up. And if you really think about it, aren't we still fighting those same fights,
Mm,
Yep.
the
just
same
in
exact
different,
one. Yeah,
formats and on a larger scale?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Same exact fights. Only thing is, people are more for self now.
Mm,
I got to get mine, and I'm not worried about the next person. And like I said, it's each one teach one, and we all win.
yeah,
Like we got to get back to that concept, man.
yeah, it's a must.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you rocking out with everything that you hear, and continue to hit that like button, that heart button, the share button. We're gonna take a quick break, and we will be right back. I'm ready to get the ball. All right, and we are back. Once again, I'm your host, Shannon Smith, and this is the Successes Within Reach podcast. As always, you can follow along with us at www.facebook.com/SIWR podcast. Put in your comments, put in your questions, and we will get to them all. I'm here with Mike Williams and RJD, the Imperfect Gentleman, for episode 6, King Mentality. All right, gentlemen, next up we have, what advice do you have for new fathers, and in particular, fathers that didn't have that representation growing up? RJ, did we'll start with you, sir.
Oh man, you are talking to the man himself. You just like mentioned my life. Like that's you just paraphrased my whole entire life. Um, so my advice that I would give to the young fathers is shout out to you guys, right? Shout out to the fathers who just crossed over into this wonderful, prestigious club, right? Because there's no higher title than father on this earth. So welcome to the best part of your life.
Yep.
Now what I'm gonna say is about the representation of a father growing up is do your best job to be whatever you lacked.
Ooh,
Mm,
Do your damnedest job to be better at all the things that you missed out on growing up.
I like
Because
that.
those things that you missed out on and that you longed for are
yeah,
the same things that's going to edify the children that you created.
yeah, yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
So
That's
make sure, do your best. Read now, and let me tell you, it don't feel good because I'm going through it right now. Like I just recently had to sit down and meditate and get back and touch it with that little boy inside. And let me tell you, that was an emotional event.
mm,
Even with that moment at that time, that space in my life, I feel like I've grown closer with my kids now because now I
mm.
know they need that connection. The thing that I,
Nice.
I longed for as a child, that connection, that love, that vibe, I gotta give.
Mm,
So I tell you, perfect what you missed.
mm.
that's what's
I
up.
like that.
Yo, before I answer that question, I just got to shout out some cats that's watching right now. Larry Fox says, "Love you guys." That's what's up, right?
Appreciate
Love
that,
you too,
sir.
King.
Not enough of us can say it, but we love you too, bruh.
Word.
Mark Ward says, "Just being around the right people has helped me, and you guys are the right people." Come on,
Mm.
we doing the work.
Mm,
Mark Ward said they
appreciate
do
that.
me like that when I asked to come on my YouTube channel. So Mark, he can relate to people not witnessing the greatness before greatness, right? So it's
Yes.
okay.
Mm.
Andrew says self-discovery is powerful. I love it. Yo, Kings be coming through. Let's go.
Let's go. Pull up, Kings. Pull up.
Oh, you know what I mean? But being a dad ain't nothing easy about it, bro. There's no specific strategy at all. You know what I mean?
Mm,
This, especially you got multiple kids. I got three. They all three different personalities, right?
mm,
And you just gotta love them from where they are. There are some things that me growing up I didn't have access to. Like, if this is what I had to eat, this is what the hell I had to eat, right?
mm.
My kids didn't live in a different world now, right? We're
Yeah.
able to provide so much more for them, than I had, so I got to watch my frustration level sometime, like, you know what I mean? Because they're just not accustomed to just having whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as you get better in life, as you get better with success and finances, and you strive to put your family in better positions, just you remember being a father, and just it every day is gonna be different, man. There's no real
Mm.
strategy. Every time I get this question, I tell people there's no real strategy. You simply have to understand your kids' angles, right? And see how you
Uh-huh.
can best connect with them. Like, I know that my middle boy, he loves a game just dance. He loves to kind of be to himself. You know what I mean? So I got to know when to approach him and when to connect with him, and not disturb his peace because he loves peace, right?
Mhm.
My
Okay.
youngest daughter, she loves to have fun. She loves to be around people. So I got to make sure that I watch my tone when I tell her daddy's working, right? She really feels that.
Mm.
You know what I mean? My oldest son, he's getting older now. He's
Mm.
quiet, but he's not quiet when he's with his friends, right? You know what I mean?
Turn
Totally,
up.
totally different vibe.
Gotcha.
But you know what I mean? You just gotta kind of try to understand your kids the best that you can, and just love them from where they are. And just every day's gonna be different, and just pay attention. Recognize the different changes that they might be having. Don't be afraid to bring the hammer down when you need to. Um,
Mm.
they're not your friends, right? They're your kids.
Facts.
They still have
Mm.
Mike,
responsibilities.
say that one more time.
Yep, they are your kids, not your friends.
Come on.
They have
Yes, sir.
responsibilities that they need to take care of. They got a couple of jobs, what I mean? Go to school, get good grades, and things of that nature. So, my wife being an educator, she always on top of my kids when it comes to education. But just love them from where they are and understand that you are not their friend, you're their parent.
Oh, and I want to add one thing on to that. How you start it will to determine how you finish, right?
Elaborate on that for me.
And I'm saying this because I'm dealing with this in a few of my cases that I'm actually coaching in right now. How you start raising your children from birth now. I don't want to hear 5, 6. No, from birth. How you start raising your children is how you will deal with them later on. So don't start babying your sons and your daughters at 5 and 6, and then wonder why 15 and 16 they feel like they can walk upside your head. You gotta set
Gotcha.
boundaries. You gotta set the boundaries early and stick to them. And don't get tired, right? Don't get tired of talking. Like I have a different age gap between my brother and myself. And if you watch the age, the life choices, you can tell, oh, my mother got tired at a certain point because the respect level is different. He walks in the house and he can use profanity with no problem in front of her. When I cringe when I hear it, right? Because it's a certain respect level. Like when I came in the house growing up, the word "dad" got you popped. This young man can walk in the house and drop the full of the F-bomb with no problem, and the thing is, it's regular.
Oh wow.
You see what I'm saying? So what I'm saying to you mothers and fathers is that understand is how you start this game is how you end it. It will be how you end it. So start correctly. Don't wait.
Yeah, we got a comment said, "Amen. Kids can get out of control. Set that boundary so they know not to cross it." Facts.
Believe it. Believe it.
You got a brother over here say your father, your young father, teach your sons to be men and teach your daughter how a man should treat them.
Facts.
I like that.
Absolutely.
I like that.
I got a bunch of babes over in my room, so I want to shout out to Nancy. Holla at you, homie. Carl, I see you in the room, big boy.
Nice. While we still on fatherhood, elaborate on the importance of creating a safe communication space with your kids. You know, I talk to a lot of guys and I hear them say like, man, my kids won't talk to me. They always talk to my wife. They don't talk to me. Or I always find out stuff late, or I'm always the last one to know, you know, such and such. And my question is always, have you ever created a safe space for them to talk to you? Or do they only look at you as when I'm in trouble is the only time you talk to me? You know, so how do you create, not just how do you create, but what is the importance of creating that safe communication space with your kids, and how do you go about doing that?
That's dope, man. That ain't an easy thing to do. But you gotta do it, especially like my oldest. He's a gamer. So he's always in the room gaming. I'm not a gamer. I'm totally opposite. I can't even like sit there and do it, and I'm not gonna do it. So you just figure out things that find things that you both do enjoy.
Yes.
Or at least teachable moments. You know what I mean? Most recently, I guess one of the most important things is, my son comes down here and works in the office at night. So before he gets in or after, that's my opportunity to talk. Teaching him how to drive, that's the opportunity to talk. In the car. Just making some the opportunity to be alone to ask questions and just ask questions. You know what I mean? If they're not going to talk, ask questions, they're not going to not answer your question, right? Especially when it's a safe space, right? And usually I could be on a drive somewhere. So different people, different things, different opportunities will happen. I know with my youngest kid, like I said, you just got to know when to talk to them and ask them questions and stuff. They're super young now, but they're really intelligent because they watch a lot of YouTube and TV, and so they pick up on things a lot. So when you hear them, they might talk about something. You kind of ask them some questions and help get them to elaborate to see if they really know what they're talking about.
Absolutely.
Show up, so that's a way to have effective communication. Some kids naturally will communicate with you. My youngest but the combination of the two. Well, no, I guess he got a little older and he didn't do it as much. But being a youngster, he would talk and chatter with you. You know what I mean? You get a little older, you start getting involved in other things and people and girls.
Start feeling yourself.
Feeling yourself a little bit. But me naturally though, I'm just like I'm not very talkative. At home. So that's something that I personally have to work on too. Is just speaking up and asking my more questions and building that relationship. That definitely something that me personally I must continue to work on, because I'm okay not talking. It's a weird thing,
Yeah.
but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I recognize that behavior, and then I go and focus on making sure that I get better at it. So
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
That's an
And
interesting. Yeah, that's a
we got
powerful.
a great comment here. It says, I
Sir.
think parents need to also make their kids feel comfortable enough to talk to them and not talk at them. I think talking at a child can make them not want to talk to a parent. Talk to them as a friend, but from a place of I'm still the parent.
mhm.
That is an excellent, excellent point.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
That's
He hit,
dope.
he hit
That's
the note, the nail on the head as well.
dope.
And what you have to do, like I find myself even now, is like once again going back into that history of yourself, figuring out
Mm-hmm.
why, like why is it so hard for you to talk to your child? Because like you say, it's always a block there, right? It's some sort of block.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about it, your children are not old enough to have caused that block, right? So it's not the kid.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to figure out what it is about that's with you that you have that barrier. Because even right now, it's so crazy. My 4-year-old daughter will tell me, "Daddy, I want to talk to you." She just started speaking. She had a speech, and now she's telling me, "I want to talk to you." And I'll be like, "Oh," and it's crazy because whatever's going on at that moment when she said it, I had to stop because
Mm-hmm.
yeah, whatever she said, it made no sense because she was struggling with language, but she needed
Mm-hmm.
that attention and that space. So what you got to learn to do is give them that space, right? Because kids are going to take it anyway. Anything you give a child, they're going to take and use. So
Yeah.
give them that space, give them the platform, give them that open door.
Yeah.
Say, listen,
Mm-hmm.
even because even myself, when I'm working, I might get frustrated and say, you know what, not right now. But at the end of the day, when I stop to think what they really want, it's moments that they need,
Yeah.
right? They don't
Yeah.
they just need days. They don't need your whole hour, your whole work day. They need you in that, and whatever that moment is, it might be minor to you, but it's major to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got to remember that what's minor to you is major to them. So you got
Yo,
to put it on the scale.
that's a good point. You just checked me just now, because earlier today, um, I'm really laid back with them coming in the office, right? But today I was like, listen,
Mm-hmm.
I got a couple of meetings, right? I got to record, right? So I'm like, baby, the door's gonna be closed. With the door's closed and it's not an emergency, right?
Mm-hmm.
Chill out. I'm gonna be done soon. 10 minutes later, she came in the room, right? So I'm like, baby girl, what happened? I told you if it's not an emergency. She said, but well, it kind of is, right? And I'm like, and she's like, we ordered a game on Amazon. Can you see when it's gonna show up? I'm like, baby, that's an emergency.
In her world, it is though.
Yo,
It is.
yo, Mike, yo, because think about the time perception, right? To a child,
Yeah,
wait,
yeah,
hold on,
yep,
later, right? That's what we tell our children, and then like when they learn time, it's like, yo, you know how much anxiety you're giving these kids by telling them just to wait.
Oh, don't let them wait. Wait till your kids start to be able to tell the time.
Oh,
My middle boy, I have to be specific with him.
mm.
I can't
Oh
tell him
man.
wait. You can't tell him wait. Wait. What you mean wait? Wait
What's
when?
that?
Dad? He gonna ask you what time, and you're gonna be like 4 o'clock, and he gonna hold you to that. He gonna hold you.
3:59 here on the countdown.
3:59 already waiting.
That's funny. Oh man.
Oh man, that was dope. That was dope.
Listen, man.
Like kids, it's one of them things, man.
Yo,
I used to work in the juvenile correction system,
mm,
and some of the conversations, man, that I've had with some of those kids, like I always urge parents, talk to your kids when they're young.
hmm
Talk to them before they don't talk to you at all.
Yeah.
Like the things that kids today are going through and learning and having to pivot through is not what we came up with,
no.
70s, 80s, 90s. Like, fam, they dealing with grown folk conversations and pressure at like 10, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah,
Like it's crazy. And when you add internet and social media to it, like I'm telling y'all, talk to your kids. Like the weight that some of these kids walk around with, it's unbelievable.
Yep.
It's unbelievable. Like to be 11 or 12 and some of them are thinking about suicide and all of this craziness. And I'm like,
or
hell, my
feeding the
biggest
family.
choice at like the biggest thing I thought about at 12 years old was what time we was playing football after school. Like
That's a fact.
How much homework I try
Like,
to avoid, right? Avoid doing was my biggest thing. How much homework I cannot do.
Real
you know
talk.
what I mean? Like, I'm telling y'all, man, create that space. Like, I cannot elaborate on that enough, man. Create that space. We got a question says, what should a stepdad who is just coming into a child's life do to approach them? Great question.
Great question. Great question. Yo, yeah, y'all touching my life tonight.
Yeah, transparency. My oldest is my stepson, right? And
Mm,
oh, you just embrace them, man. Like, take it a day at a time. I mean, I was fortunate enough that I came into his life when he was very young, 2 years old. So, I am dad. I've been here since day one, practically.
hmm
It will be different if if you're coming into a relationship and the child is like, they're grown, like 10, 12, like, it can be different.
Yeah.
So all I can say is, just respect them, give them the time to, you know, get to know who you are. It's like any other relationship, any other person
Yes.
you meet. You got to simply ask them questions about themselves, what they like, and
Mhm.
remember those things. When I first got with my lady at the time, was now my wife. When she went off to work, I would go pick up her son, because I
mm,
knew that I wanted to be in this relationship long term. And I said, you know what? If that's the case, I'm in a relationship with him too. You know what I mean?
hmm
Absolutely.
That's my kid. So I started picking him up. We go places. Went to the duck pond and went to the park or whatever. Just something quick, something simple. But that was bonding time. You know what I mean? So you just got to take it a little bit at a time. Don't overwhelm him. Respect that place, especially if their father is in the picture. You still
hmm
gotta respect that situation, that relationship that they do have with their other parent, if they have one. So it ain't easy. I grew up without my biological father. My father was my stepfather. So same
hmm
thing. He just treated me as such, and I in return I show the love. You know what I mean?
That's the same. Like me, I can't talk from the being the stepfather position, but I can talk from being the child of a stepfather.
Mm,
And he came into my life when I was 9. No, I'm sorry, 8. And our relationship never developed because it wasn't a relationship, right? It was
hmm
a provision. So it's like I see him now in my life as like as a dude that just paid the bill. Saying like I don't have a relationship with the man. So one thing I can tell you is that go for the relationship. Don't just
mm,
be there to provide. Don't just be there just to be in the space, but have a relationship. Build a relationship the same way you build a relationship with the mother. It's got to be 10 times the effort to build with that young man or young
mm,
girl. Because at the end of the day, you got to earn that respect. Because
hmm
remember, you walked into their life. They was already there. And
mm,
then now you're taking away from their life now. You're
mhm,
taking a part of them away because now that the attention that their mom had to give to you now it's split. So
mhm,
you are taking away. So make sure you add value to that life. Make
mhm.
sure you give back to that life.
Yep,
Show them a new way of things.
yep.
Because
And
trust me, when you show a child something new, they're gonna love you for life.
bet,
Give them the
bet.
attention.
Yep. And inclusion.
Yes.
Make sure you include, and when you think of plans, you think
Yeah.
of things that you're doing with the lady, right? You gotta think of inclusion. How can I make this a better situation for her and the kid? Can the kid come? Right? Can the kid
Yeah.
be part of
Yeah.
this? Right? You got to lead with that, because you don't know how mom deals with the kids, when she makes plans and stuff
hmm
like that. So inclusion is extremely important. You know what I mean? You can't just be making plans with you and the lady and not realizing that she got this beautiful kid right here that has to be a part of the situation. You know what I mean? And at least if she has a different ideal of what you're gonna do with the kid, at least you led with the right perspective. You know what I mean? Putting your heart first.
And also come in there correctly. Right? Come in with the right energy. Don't come in there big boss. Don't come in there big daddy. Sit back, learn the situation. You know what I'm saying? Let
Yeah.
that be crowned on your head. You can't go in there thinking that you're the king already. You got to be crowned.
Yeah. Ooh.
So when you walk in there, go in
Mm,
there humble. Start learning more before you start trying to implement any rules and anything that you got going on.
Yeah.
It's a must.
That's
that's
what's up.
good.
That's a fact.
That's good. Oh man, that was a good one. All right, while we still on family and relationships, What are the essentials for creating longevity in relationships?
Mm.
Yes, sir. Hey, I
Woo.
told you we getting into it today.
Yes, sir. You ain't lied about that. You ain't lied
What
about
are
that.
what are the essentials for creating longevity in relationships?
Mm.
Either one can start first.
That's what's up. I'm about to be married, what, 11 years and 14 together. So
Mm.
just us two. Just the two of us
Hmm.
and the kids. But yo, communication. I think that the last
Hmm.
year or two has been the absolute best. Because
Okay.
as a guy, and I'm gonna come from my perspective as a guy who's out here trying to chase the bag, right? Trying to
Hmm.
build something, right? Trying to make $1 million. I got into a situation where I'd spend like all of our money and not say anything, right? Or make important decisions without saying anything,
Mm.
right? And then when
Hmm.
shit hit the fan, it's like, what the, you know what I mean? What can you expect from her, right?
Hmm.
Coming at you. Now you coming at her because you feel like you being disrespected. But but it's like, no, bro.
Don't be disrespecting me, man.
You did that. You know what I'm saying? You did that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So communication is the number one. It's got to be at the top of the list. So I think over the
Gotcha.
last couple of years, we've been more direct with each other, just forcing each other to be more
Hmm.
direct. What are you trying to say? Right? What are you trying to say? What is this? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Not tiptoeing and just get into it, and after a while,
Hmm.
and understand that nothing's ever going to be perfect. It's never going to be a perfect case scenario. Like every day is not going to
Hmm.
be perfect. What I mean? You're two different people from two different worlds. So there's some things that you got to accept about her. There's some things that she has to accept about you, and you have to make the adjustments, right, moving forward. You know what I mean? But respect, communication. I think that's everything in the relationship, and it can go a long way, and make relationship stay between the two of you, right? Or a third party could be a therapist if need be, but
Hmm.
y'all got to talk that out, right?
Yeah.
Y'all got to hash that out, and that's one thing I do proud about my relationship. Me and my wife, we don't talk about, like, if we have an issue in here, when we go out there, it's us. You know what I mean?
Bro, I'm trying to tell you.
You know what I mean?
And that's
Nobody's
important.
gonna know. Nobody's out there is gonna know that we might be dealing with a little
Home
tension right now
team.
because it's a team. Like, we
Yeah.
gotta represent each other, and we ain't about to go out there looking crazy with screw faces on.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
When we get home, then we hash it out and deal with it. But I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that much at all in the last couple of years, just because we just some growth. You know what I mean? Just
Hmm.
know each other just that much more. And as you get the longer you get together, the more you're going to learn about each other because you change.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Older and you change. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Some things that you liked 10 years ago, you might not like today. You know what I mean? You're
Yeah.
going to change. So communication, having that respect, do some type of personal development stuff together. Like, all that stuff works.
Hmm.
And romance. Don't forget that. Sometimes we guys we forget romance. Like, it's important. You gotta have dates. You gotta do random shit. Like, you gotta do it.
Yo,
Facts.
what got you in the game is what you better keep. What keeps you in the game, young kings?
Oh, I know. I set the bar high too, bro. I set the bar high. I'm like, damn, I don't know if I can keep up with this for 50 years.
Bruh.
50 years, and you don't realize it until later when you deep in the marriage. Yo, I really set the bar high. I'm sitting there like, how the fuck? You know?
Yo, I learned early in the game on that one. That'll
Oh,
that'll cost you your savings. Yo, for me,
oh man.
I say I've been with my wife now for 15 years collectively, and we've been married for 5 now.
Wow.
And the biggest thing is the communication,
Mm,
Hmm.
because there's going to be hell. You hear me? I'm not about to sugarcoat this at all. Put the
mm,
kids to bed. But there's gonna be some shit to deal with. You hear me? When two people come from separate parts of life to come together to live and move forward as one,
mm,
you are no
Hmm.
longer just dealing with your issues. You are now
Hmm.
collectively dealing with both. So it's
Yeah.
2 times the heartache. It's 2 times the headache. So what you got to understand is it's you and that person against the world. I'm gonna say that again. It's you and that person against the world. It can't be somebody else coming in between it. It's got to be a tight knit bond. There's one
Every
thing about
day.
my wife that even to the point where it's like, all right, so I'm gonna be even more transparent. My wife just came home from surgery, right? And the night before, when she was in surgery, I didn't hear from her from 7 until 12 at midnight. Now, I have my kids. I got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and I lived in South Florida basically alone. There's basically no family down here for us. So I'm not just about to take my kids anywhere and leave them. So I'm home with my kids, and I'm on the phone with one of my best friends, and he says, "Yo, why are you stressed out so much? You know she's all right." I said, "Bro, because at the end of the day, before I was their father, I was her man, right?
Mm.
How did they come about? Our love is how they came about. So my love, the person I created that love with, is now sitting somewhere that I cannot get to.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm tormented. I'm going through it. But you got to remember, this is my partner. This is the person that I go to bat with against the world. So
Mm-hmm.
bond has to be, I mean, unbreakable. And how do you create that bond? The sad part is you got to go through something, man.
Mm.
Yeah.
See, me and my wife, in the first few years, it was lovely. We walked around the house all day, hunched like rabbits. There was no turmoil, right? Keep it a stack. There was no friction.
Uh.
15 years down the road, our sex life is not probably as jumping as it used to be, but our connection and our bond is way stronger than it's ever been back then.
That's what's up.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is, and I said all I have to say is that make sure that you and that person's connection is deeper than the rap, right? It's deeper than the surface because guess what? It's gonna be tested.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's tested, you only know it if you come out on the other side together, if it worked or not.
That's what's up. Wanted to break the key.
Nice.
I just remembered yesterday I have to date my wife. That's what Kevin said.
Mm.
I have to date my wife.
Yes, you do.
I think I'm overdue.
Still a
Yeah.
girl. She's still a girl, y'all. We call them women, but at the end of the day, she's still a girl. Like we still boys on the inside, they still women. They still girls, and they want to be treated as such at some points.
I better start planning something too. She probably
Hey, yo, Mike had a whole violinist and everything on his balcony.
you see,
Uh-huh.
we going photo shoot that Sunday. Sunday we going photo shoot. That's right. I ain't got to plan now. We got something.
There you go.
See, it'd be 2-3 weeks from now. She gonna replay this whole segment. Like
Word.
you said.
The phone's gonna be right at hand. Like, yep, you know it. You replay.
Oh man. Like I couldn't agree with y'all more, man. Like I don't care who you ask, communication is always going to be at the top of that list, man. Like it's something you never master. I don't care how long you've been together. It's something you never master.
It gets hard.
Because you're always growing. You're always growing. You're always changing. You're always evolving. And it's you become different every year, just like your partner becomes different every year. And then as a unit, the both of you become different every year. So it's always something to learn. You're always growing. You're always evolving. And you have to be transparent. And that's something that I know I struggle with, and it took me a while to really fully open up, and it causes a lot of issues, but as you build that trust and in that person, and you build that trust in that relationship, then it's like, okay, she does have my back. I can't trust her with this. I can't trust her with that, and I'm telling you, man, like once you start to really get the wheels turning on the communication piece, it makes everything so much better. Like
Downhill, baby.
I'm trying to tell you, man, you can work through so many things. And like RJD was saying, because once you move in, like I need those of y'all that have not moved in together yet. I'm telling you, it's real.
Talk to him, King.
work on your communication, work on your transparency, be upfront, and know what you're getting into. Like, forget the putting on a front and don't want them to see you like this and don't want them to see you like that. Because once you move in together, it's real. Like, ain't no receipt on that. You can't just take that back to the store. And you start noticing stuff. You're like, dang, did they always walk around like that? You know, or they look at you like, dang, does he always do that when he eats? Like you start noticing little stuff, and it's the little quirky stuff like that that make relationships so freaking hilarious,
Yep.
you know. But it gets real, man, and that because you, I don't care who you are, always have this kind of fallback, to I ain't got to put up with this argument. I could go home. But
You get married.
but once y'all move in together, and especially once you married, fam, you are here. Like
You're gonna go home to the other room.
exactly where you going. Like so, that as you heard everybody say, that communication piece, man, you gotta work on it before you jump the broom, man, because you have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
It's okay, you here, I'm here, we gonna sit down, work this thing out. You could be mad for a little while, but guess what? We're coming back and we gonna talk about it at some point.
What I wanted to drop on everybody is that new relationship is like I said about the babies. It's my theory, and I live with it. How you start it is how you finish it. So how you start something is how you're gonna deal with it later on. So if you playing them games and you pretending to be somebody that you're not, guess what? You're gonna get tired of being that person after a while. That your person, your partner, is gonna expect something totally different than who you really are. So
Yeah.
I advise you to be you from the beginning all the way through. Be upfront about even your flaws and your imperfections, because that is what's going to make your bond even the better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I took my wife on our first date. I had a red 2000. I had a 1997 Mitsubishi Galant. The the driver's door, the driver's side window ain't go down. I ain't have no AC in that car, and our first date was in August.
In August, if you win, keep a mic.
Oh, she in it. Yeah, this is it right here.
Bruh, that's a keeper for sure. Cause she about had a heat stroke on the date.
I'm trying to tell you, yo, I want Mike, bring her on the show one night and ask her what was your thoughts in your mind. Like, let that out to the world. What was you thinking of that car?
Oh man. Yo. Oh man, that's crazy. That's crazy. All right. Next up we got, what do you know? What do you know now about marriage that you wish you knew before tying the knot?
Whoa.
Interesting.
Yes, sir. What do you know now about marriage that you wish you knew before tying the knot?
I'm gonna jump out there because we were just having this conversation on the Imperfect Fathers podcast. Um, it's that you don't go into marriage for sex.
Hmm.
I went into marriage believing that because of my religious background, right? Because of being a Christian, that you're not supposed to have sex before you get married, right? So it's like as much sex as I was having before I got married, I was like, okay, I'm definitely sinning. So let me get married so I can have as much sex as I want. Realizing, not understanding that, I have a sex issue, right? Like I have a sexual issue. Like it's crazy. So now I'm chasing down to get married just so I can have sex legally, right? Not knowing that one woman can't physically take as much intercourse as all the ones I had before that, right? So now here I am in a situation trying to put my wife up to the capacity of multiple women, right? She
Oh
can't do it.
wow.
Possible. So I jumped into something thinking that, oh yeah, this is what I'm doing it for. In no actuality, the rude awakening. And it caused pain and trauma because what did I do? I cheated on my wife, right? What did it
Oh
cause me?
wow.
It caused me to expect high expectations from her, right? It caused me to put demands on her that there's no female human being that could possibly upstand to.
Mm.
Now, what did that do? It caused a lot of pain. It caused a lot of hurt, a lot of trauma,
Yeah.
right? A lot of
Mm-hmm.
trust, a lot of breaking down of walls that it took a long time to build up. All because of what? Misunderstanding of what I was getting into, right? You get into a marriage to walk the journey with someone. You don't get into a marriage to abuse somebody. You don't get into a relationship
Mm-hmm.
to use someone, because that's no actuality what I was intending on doing, right?
Yeah.
Using her for the sexual pleasures of my own self, my own being. But the truth of the matter is, I had to work on myself. I had to grow up. I had to
Mm-hmm.
understand It's a lot more to relationships than just sexual activities. Because remember, as men, we think sex is is romance, right? It's intimacy to us in our mind, but that's not to a woman. So I had to go
Mm-hmm.
back and understand first of all, we don't even know what a woman really is, right? Like a lot of us get into relationships, don't understand what a woman is, what she deserves, what she needs, right? So I had to do a whole crash course in the middle of my relationship, in the middle of my marriage. And this is why I preach to young kings all the time. Learn you first. It'll save your partner so much heartache and pain. If you
Mm-hmm.
love if you love your future wife, kings, hear me well. If you love your future wife, do the work now on yourself.
That's what's up. That's what's
Good
up.
point.
I'll be totally transparent. I've never thought about this question before.
Mm.
When I got married, I was ready to get married. Before I
Mm-hmm.
got married, I had, done this and that and everything else that I shouldn't have been doing. But once I got married, I was ready. When I said it, I knew I was ready, and I was ready
Mm-hmm.
for whatever came with it.
Mm.
And I never really thought about that question before. I'm sitting here thinking like, what? And I really don't have an answer, man. Like, I just been kind of growing, doing, growing as it come. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I've always been in the personal development space, so I've always tried to
Mm-hmm.
keep that angle a little bit. Um, more recently over the course of the last 2 years, but I wouldn't change a thing about what I've gone through in my marriage. Because it's been great. It's had its ups and downs, but right now
Mm-hmm.
I feel as we're in a place where we're just comfortable with each other. We're comfortable in our skin, and and we're just growing. So I honestly don't have an answer for that, brother.
Gotcha. Gotcha. All right. And that brings us to our second break, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Successes Within Reach podcast, here with Mike Williams and RJD for episode 6, King Mentality. We'll be right back after this short break. All right. And we are back. All right, gentlemen, as we close down, the next question is, what is the importance of taking accountability and letting go of the victim mentality in order to evolve? This is something that as men, so many of us struggle with. And I think part of it is just, human nature to say, oh, this is this person's fault or that group's
Mm.
fault or society's fault. But there's no growth without self accountability.
Yeah.
So, just elaborate on the importance of taking accountability and letting go of that mentality so that you can have your breakthrough and you can evolve.
I'm gonna let the breakthrough king work on that one first. I shouldn't though, because he's gonna let them set the mic on fire. It's gonna be hard to go after. But go ahead, Mike. Work on that, baby.
So I, you might have a vision board. You might have a journal with great ideas in it. Um, you may sit up late at night, thinking about all these great things that you're going to do and that you can do. But the fact is, none of them things are going to manifest until you take personal accountability of the little things, right?
Mm.
Hmm.
First, God is not going to um, allow you to be responsible for great things if you can't even be responsible for the small things, right?
Mm.
Hmm.
A lot of I could say, I mean, my biological father wasn't around. Okay, that's great. Now that I realized that he wasn't around, now how do I maneuver through this, right? What steps do
Hmm.
I have to take to get where I need to be? Yeah, my parents was on drugs. Okay, I understand. I get it. I saw it. Oh, okay, now how do I maneuver through this now? Because we can't change yesterday. We can't do that. Somebody may have had a hand in a decision that was made that didn't put us on the right side of the board. But hey, guess what? Now that I'm aware, guess what? Now I got to make some decisions and make some adjustments. I don't think enough of us make adjustments every single day. We don't make enough adjustments to get to where we need to be. And accountability is everything, right? Uh,
Hmm.
we can't build the platforms that we have right now. We wouldn't have been able to build them if we didn't take accountability for all the small things that we had to do to make this thing rock. There's going to be things that you don't want to do. There's going to be people that you might not want to have a conversation with, right? But you got to do them because you got to be able to break through and get to the other side. You can't get to the other side without work. You can't get to the other side without failure. And the only way you're going to get to the other side is being accountable for it, because your life is your life, man. You are where you are right now because the decisions that you made.
Come
right?
on.
You know what I'm saying?
Come on, Mike.
You said yes. You said no. You said yes. You said no. You did that. So now you gotta make better decisions after you've made these adjustments, right? After you have some self-awareness, self-discovery, right? And now we got to practice accountability. And accountability is simply putting one foot before the other, one foot before the other. Even if you want to lay down, you still got to put one foot before the other. That's accountability. And when we can decide what we want to build, who we want to become, and take those steps forward every single day, what's up? Welcome to the other side. And make sure in your mind you're already to the other side, right? You're already there, and you're chasing that carrot to make sure that it manifests and it becomes real.
Yo, man,
and that's why he is the breakthrough king.
I was about to say, it's been nice talking to you guys. We're gonna go take out the offering plate now and close it out with a benediction. I tell you, man, I don't know why I let him go first, but for real, man, like the first thing we gotta explain it to them is like it's the power that comes with accountability, right? It's the power. Do you understand the leverage and the power that comes from knowing that it's on you?
Yeah.
Like once you understand that you have the power to say like, yeah, this is on. If it wins, it's on me. If it fails, it's on me. You gotta understand that we gotta get out of the victim mindset, because once we realize we're not just surviving no more, we could jump into thriving, right? Because that's what we're really trying to go from. We're trying to go from a surviving mindset to a thriving mindset. So we got to get out of this place of blaming somebody else, because my grandmother always said, you point that finger, you got 4 pointing back at you. Understand that no matter what you do, it's on you. You are right now at this current moment at 9:07 on Thursday night. You are the accumulated sum of all your decisions that you made up to this point. You are the accumulated all decisions, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent, they all make up your skin and your texture to who you are right now.
Facts.
So understanding that going forward from this point forward, because I tell everybody this one thing, all my guys in my group, what happened before you got here on this earth is nothing to do with you. Right? The thing that happened before you got here, the thing that happened with your mom, and the decision your dad made has nothing to do with you.
Yep.
But what has something to do with you, what's on your back, is what happens from this point forward.
Yep.
So that's when you pick up your own shit, realize it stinks, and move on with it, right? And have somebody to hold you accountable with it, because that's where your true power is at, man.
Oh, I'm glad you said that last part.
Facts.
Getting with somebody else to help you be held accountable.
Absolutely.
Right? Sometimes you need that little jump start, right? Just like a car. Car's dead. You got a dead battery, right? There's nothing you can do. You're either going to change the battery or you're going to jump the one that you got. In the meantime, I got to jump the one that I got until I can afford a new battery. You're going to need somebody to come into your life to jump that battery, get you started, give you a piece of advice, give you a blueprint, right? Give you a plan, because clearly you don't know what you're doing yet. Right? If you're unhappy, if you're blaming other people, all right, if you're broke, busted, and disgusted, if nobody can stand to be around you, if you can't even stand to be around yourself and look yourself in the mirror, you find somebody that's going to help you be held accountable, so you can start, manifesting those ideals that's written in that journal, right? So I'm glad you mentioned accountability from somebody else, because it's important. And invest into yourself.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It, right? Don't just look for a mentor. Like look for a coach, somebody who's going to be invested in you because you invested in them, right? And it's your job to make sure, like, bro, this is what we need to do today. This is what you need to do today. This is what the week's going to look like. This is what the month's going to look like, right? And you get that much closer to your goals.
Yo, it just hit me when you said that. So, I realized in a lot of my cases, I'm actually having breakthroughs with, and pun intended, right? Is that where we get so much frustration is we don't have the accountability because there's no growth, right? Whenever there's no growth and there's no progress, there's gonna be frustration.
Always.
There's going to be aggravation
Always.
because we're meant to move forward. We're meant to progress. We're meant to elevate. You
Always.
think about it, where our forefathers was at, where we are even in technology. And just imagine what the next 20 years is going to bring us.
Mm-hmm.
So the understanding of like, yo, we got to take ownership. And not only that, the accountability will erase your frustrations, because once you now be accountable, you're going to see progress.
Mm-hmm.
Progress,
Mm-hmm.
there's no frustration. There's progress. There's happiness. Those endorphins are going off.
Oh, endorphins.
Facts.
There you go. I love it. I love it,
Facts.
man.
I've been in the book,
And
Mike.
on- and when it comes to accountability partners, like I can't say this enough. Stop getting yes men in your life.
Mm.
Like cut the crap, man. Like stop.
Yo.
You will never grow in life. You will never get the success that you seek in life with a squad full of yes men.
Facts.
Nope.
You need, you have to have somebody around you to tell you that yo ish stinks.
Yeah.
Like, fam, you need to tighten up. You did this, and this. That wasn't right. Or, hey, you need to tighten up. You 2-3 weeks behind schedule on such and such goals. Like, the same way you would want people to check out, your t-shirt line or your tennis or your sneaker line before you put it out. You want people to be that blatantly honest with you about your life. Yes, it's gonna hurt. Yes, it's gonna suck. Yeah, you're gonna get mad. Yes, it's gonna be uncomfortable. But that's how you grow.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you grow.
You remember that cut you got when you was 6, CEO? Remember that cut that hurt?
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
Hey,
it healed, right? Same way. Get somebody hurt your feelings, telling you about your life. Guess what? It's gonna hurt in that moment. It'll heal. You'll feel better when you get past it. Yeah. But guess what? You're gonna grow. It's growth in there.
Yeah, I mean, you have to understand that no matter what it is that you're going through, it's not gonna last forever.
Never.
It's millions upon millions of people out here going through something. Everybody's going through something, whether it's relationships, family, they lost somebody, kids acting crazy, they dealing with the pandemic. Their money is funny. They got more bills at the end of the month than they got money. Whatever the case is, everybody is going through something. But you have to learn how to suck it up, dig deep, remember your why, and keep pressing.
Yeah.
But in the event that you do rely on a team and you do have a coach, be transparent with them. Let them know, hey, this is what's going on, so that they can give you the real and give it back to you to let you know what you need to do. Give you that support, give you that advice, give you that encouragement, give you that direction. Like, stop just looking for people to say, yeah, you killing it, and you dying on the inside.
Yeah.
I really think that's why we have so many celebrities, and like you look at people that are considered the world's elite that end up checking out of here and committing suicide, and people are like, yo, you was a rich and famous millionaire, how are you so depressed? And then they pass away, and then later you go and find out they got like 25 journals talking about how nobody cares about them and they so depressed and life is this and life is that. Stop finding yes people. Stop having people around you telling you that you the top and the creme de la creme, and you out here struggling. Let people know you struggling. Like, take that mask off. Take that mask off, like Future said.
Mask off.
Exactly. Like you will not evolve as a person, as a significant other, as a parent, as an entrepreneur, as a boss, as none of that stuff if you do not have some type of accountability. Like, you can learn it now or learn it later, old and lonely. But either way, you gonna learn it one way or another.
Yeah,
that's just how life works.
Yeah. Don't let the sun set on you, boy.
Man, this was what's up, man. This was what's up. I love that. You got me hyped this time.
All right, last question. Specifically, in our community, what can we do to change our narratives and make a better pathway for the next generations to come?
Well, that's what my whole thing is. That's my whole spiel. That's what the Imperfect Gentleman is all about, right? Like, it's changing the narrative, man. It's literally finding all these things and breaking them down. Like, all the perspectives that we see of our generation, of our men, changing the narrative, man. Like, pull up, pants up, like changing how we carry ourselves, right? When I was younger, I had this thing in my mind where it's like, oh, can't nobody tell me how to look or how to dress. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You have the freedom, but you got to understand the perception you're giving off, and then you can't be mad at once that perception has been received, right? You can't be mad at that. So you got to understand that you're giving off an image, and you're portraying how you want to be perceived and seen. So you got to make sure you go forth in that light, yo. You got to make sure, because if not, we know the other side look like.
Facts. What you got, Mike?
Man, our community, man. Yo, y'all, first of all, you got to realize how special you are. And the first thing I ask you to do, and one day I was in the kitchen talking to my mother-in-law, and I said, you know what? I want to learn a little bit more about my history. Right? I said, I know some stuff, but I don't know it all. And she immediately got on the phone with, her brother, who's a big advocate for African American history. He sent me a big old book over there on the jet. I went through this book, Upon Our Shores, right? Big old book, and it kind of just gives you some foundational material from the beginning all the way up until I think the Obama era, and a little behind it. So from that, I started to read autobiographies, right? Which then encouraged me, right? A part of this brand is the pictures you see behind me, right? Understanding what these men went through and still have buildings, universities, cities, streets named after them, when at one point in their life they had absolutely nothing. A couple of them on the wall were slaves. So, who am I to have the audacity to wake up every day and not create my best life when I have all the technology, cell phones, access to material?
Yeah.
Booker T. Washington walked 500 miles for an education he didn't even know he was going to get. He wasn't even sure he was going to get the education. So, in our community, we have to realize who we are and where we come from. We come from a great people that created something out of nothing. Right? Like literally nothing, right? The world, even when they told the slaves that, yo, y'all are good, y'all can go. Where we going? They built something out of nothing. You know what I mean? So, when we realize, who we are and where we come from, we're going to change our perspective of how we approach our day, how we approach our life, how we approach our goals, and realize that it is our responsibility, it's our obligation to be successful. It's our responsibility to piggyback off of all that they went through to make sure that we have had a say in things, right? And once we talked about it earlier, get over that victim mentality, bro. It's over, right? We got information. That's all we need is information.
That's all we ever needed. That's all we ever needed.
We've been fighting for information for the longest time. Now you got it. You got all the information you can ever have at the tip of your fingers. Go out there and create something. Go out there and be something. And when the first person starts to take that step to build, like my kids, they now know Breakthrough Kings. They're like, yo, it's 9:00, Dad. Breakthrough Kings is about to come on. Dad, it's 10:30. Weekend Warriors. You about to do Weekend Warriors, right? Right. It's noon. It's Sunday at 12:00. Mommy's about to do her cooking show, Boo's Pudding, right? They know these things because they're seeing it now. We have to be those examples. Somebody has to have the guts to have the first step, to take the first step.
Yeah.
Somebody has to have the guts to take the risk, to make the investment, to go through with the ideal, to climb the corporate ladder, right? To take on positions that people think that we can't have, right? And start changing the narrative that way. One of the, we just had a minority female vice president right now. Is no matter what you think about her and her career, it's still an image. It's a powerful image. And it's a powerful image that I want my daughter to see.
Absolutely.
I want my wife to see. You know what I mean? So, and moving forward, are you the image that you want your kids to see? Right?
That's powerful, Mike.
Is that the image you want them to see every day? Right? You know what I mean? And if you can say, yes, you're doing your job. If you can say, I don't really know, then we need to start doing some more work. We need to start, doing some more work every single day and really chasing this dream, man. It ain't always about the bag. It's just about the image. You know what I mean? Let's change it by simply doing what we need to do. Right.
Yeah, this is a question, I think needs to be on the minds of us all constantly. because this is such a crazy world that we live in. However, we have the power to change a lot of narratives. Like you
Mm.
said, we have more information than any other era in history. We have more opportunity than any other era in history.
Yeah.
I think the first thing that we got to do is get rid of their excuses.
Hmm.
Yes.
It's not the system, it's not politicians, it's not your boss at your job, it's not any of that. Like, a lot of what you go through begins and ends with you. It's a decision every single day to get up and say, I'm going to be better today than I was yesterday.
Yep.
I'm going to do something to leave an indelible impression on this world. I'm going to do
Mm.
something to make a positive change in somebody's life. I'm going to do something to help myself evolve into a better person, a better father, a better husband, a better boyfriend, a better teacher, a better
Mm.
boss, a better whatever the case may be. you know as far as our community specifically, we got to reinstall, I think, community leaders. you
Mm.
know
Mm.
Too many of us
Yeah.
just sit in the house and only worry about our house, but the community around you is burning down.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Your
If you
house is
live there,
next.
hell, do something about it.
Yep.
you know I don't think we are mentoring enough. I don't think we're coaching enough.
Yeah.
um, I don't think enough of us are using our voices. Some people have such a dynamic story and a dynamic voice, but they only use it inside the house.
Yep.
Nobody will ever hear it. You know, use what you've gone through. Use what you've overcome. Somebody out there needs to hear your story. If you dealt with abuse, if you dealt with domestic violence, if you dealt with, you know, abuse as a child, if you dealt with whatever the case may be, if you've been broke, if you've been evicted, if you've been homeless, whatever the case is, somebody needs to hear your story. You could save a kid out there that's struggling with the same thing. You could save a young adult that's out there struggling with that same thing and doesn't see a way out. We have to start building and sharing our stories with other people and uplifting one another. You know, um, as far as something that we just went through in the past couple of weeks, voting, fam. Like you said, looking at what our ancestors went through, it's nowhere in hell that you should be sitting at home and not go and do that. Like, people had dogs sick on them, and they were lynched and shot and stabbed and all kind of other craziness to give you the right to do it. Let your voice be heard. You know, the fact that you can go to a library, people got killed just for learning how to read.
Come on now. Come on.
Why are you not, educating yourself on something? Doesn't matter what the particular topic is. Read with your kids, read by yourself, get in a book club. Hell, it's 50 million book clubs on Facebook, whatever the case may be. Use the tools and the opportunities that we have today to make a positive impact in someone else's life. I can't say it enough. Each one teach one. That's how we change the narratives. That's how we break a lot of these curses. A lot of people feel like, oh, well, my whole family lives here, my whole family does this, so it can't be wrong. Or what's the problem with it? Fam, somebody got to break that.
Yep. Yep.
Somebody got to break that. You shouldn't see a whole family where the grandpa's in jail, the dad is in jail, all the uncles are in jail, and then, damn, who coming through the door now? All of the nephews and the kids. Somebody got to step up and break that.
Yep. Yep.
You know, your mic is muted, RJD.
My bad.
There you go.
No, I was saying was we overcome through testimonies of our brothers. You know what I'm saying? That's how we
Hmm.
overcome.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
And one more thing too, like you said about the change in the community, it's the micro changes we got to do. We got to work on the micro changes. We got to change the small things within ourselves. The getting up in
Hmm.
the morning, being on time, being punctual, doing the small things to change the narrative. That's how we're gonna do it. Not the major
Yeah,
things, small things that we got to spend major time on to make a better change in our community.
exactly. Exactly. Just every single day, like I said, get up, make a decision that you're going to be better than you were yesterday.
Yep.
If you do that every single day in a different category, by the end of a year, how awesome will you have become?
Yep, that's a fact.
What story will you have to share with others? You know, you don't have to have a podcast. You can do something right in your community. You can do something with the younger generation in your own family. You know, but we gotta change these narratives. There's too many of us going to prison. There's too many of us dying early. There's too many of us burying kids. We gotta change that.
Yep.
The older generation is checking out of here. So
Yeah.
it's on us. It's on us. And if everybody waiting on the next person to do it, it'll never get done.
Never.
It'll never get done. You know, closed mouths don't get fed and excuses never get resolved. Like we gotta do better, man.
Yep.
We gotta do
You ain't
better.
lying about that.
And I
If
would
you
say,
want better, we got to do better.
and I would say, stop taking on these false narratives. Like, just because you might
Yeah.
be from the hood, you ain't gotta be hood, right? You
Facts.
gotta stay there.
Come
Oh,
on, Mike.
that ain't for us. We from here. What? You can have whatever you want, bro. You want that? Go get it.
And
Exactly.
let me help you out too. It ain't about where you from. It's
Yep.
about where you at and where you going.
You going? That's
Exactly.
It ain't about where you at, because that ain't gonna help you none. Yeah, it's your it's your backstory, but that has nothing to do with your future.
it. That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Exactly. But this has been an outstanding episode. Already knew having both of y'all on here for the men's forum. I already knew what time it was. I knew it was gonna be fire. But
Couldn't
before we
wait.
get out of here, I want to ask you what's next for you and how are you closing out 2020 to transition into 2021? Mike, we'll start with you on this one.
Let's go. My new ebook, How to Leverage the Net, is out. Just simply go to
Nice.
Breakthrough Kings, send me a message. You can Google us now. You can Breakthrough Kings. We come up to top.
Woo! Page 1.
We running that keyword right now.
SEOs.
Breakthrough Kings. You know, shoot us a message on our fan page that you want access to the to download the book. I'll send you the link. I also, my goal to close out the year, I got my next cohort is November 30th for the Move Academy. So my goal right now is to lock in 15 guys to start that cohort on November 30th. We walk you through the breakthrough system, we walk you through the extreme execution system, and we also walk you through the automated income system, whether you have a business or you don't. But we're really trying to get 50 guys on the path to make 2021 the best year that they've ever had. You know, in all areas, in all aspects of their life. So simply just go to breakthroughkings.com or stop by the fan page and just shoot me a message. That's probably the best way to get me. And let's do this. Let's do it. We rebuilding kings one crown at a time. I'm excited, as you can see, my energy's high. We close. I mean, we doing work. If you follow me now, you know I'm going live almost 3 times a day. I'm just trying to make connections and let people know that anything is possible. You know, we launched this platform just 3 months ago, right? 3 months ago we launched. We had a mission, and we said, you know what, we are going to make this happen. No ifs, no ands, no buts. It doesn't matter what roadblocks that we run into, we can do it. And I simply just want to be an example for all my brothers out there, that you can do it too, but you don't have to do it alone.
Yes, sir. RJD, what you got, sir?
Well, listen, I am RJD, the Imperfect Gentleman, and I specialize in coaching young men in the art of being a gentleman, helping them find and master their inner gentleman while changing the perception and narrative of young men, one imperfect gentleman at a time, with class, style, and confidence. Now, you may ask yourself, what is an imperfect gentleman? An imperfect gentleman is one that understands his imperfection is not an excuse to settle, but it's an opportunity to become a better individual for himself, his family, and his community. Now, the Imperfect Gentleman Academy will be launched in in June of this coming year, 2021. I am bringing, I'm trying to have 20 gentlemen coming to the program by June. I have 5 right now that I've been working with for the last, I would say, year or so. I'm looking to broaden the academy and just go forward. I got the Art of the Imperfect Gentleman coming out. That's going to come out in January. And I also have a book coming out in June. It's called Real Men Don't Run. Sometimes they need to retreat.
Bro, you talking about a book? That's a damn TED talk.
Yeah, man. I'm excited. This 2021 is definitely going to be a phenomenal year. 2020 has been ups and downs. Has been a roller coaster, but has been. I've learned that my pastor told me anything that sets you back is a setup. So all the setbacks from 2020, all the things that hurt us. Oh man, everything that pulled us behind, and all thing it's done is set up for an amazing 2021. So just go
Yes,
out there,
sir.
y'all, and be great, man. Like I'm motivated. I'm like Mike. I'm juiced up, man. I'm ready. I'm ready for the next event. And I have two podcasts. The Perfect Fathers podcast that is every Sunday at 7 p.m. right here on this awesome platform called Facebook. We also on YouTube. We go live every Sunday, like I said, at 7 p.m. And also the Start Now podcast. I go live with my co-host on Friday nights at 10 p.m. over on Instagram. So it's all about personal development and growth, man. Become better every day, 1% better. Each day is 365% better by the end of the year.
Hold on, y'all.
Nice.
Hold on now. Hold on. We on the Successes Within Reach podcast. You got podcast. Y'all already know 2021 BTK podcast is coming. I've been watching y'all.
Hey,
I've been taking tips. I'm telling you, I had no idea what's coming. Oh, let's
let's
go.
get it.
Yes.
Let's get it.
Yes.
Over the internet. We everywhere. Keep up. Just keep up.
Yo,
Total takeover. Total
try to keep
takeover.
up. I'm trying. Y'all better keep up with us. We on the move.
Let's go.
And once again, for those that don't know, I'm your host, Shannon Smith. I am a business consultant here in the DC area, and I provide innovative solutions to both entrepreneurs and corporate clients as well, focusing on growth, profitability, market presence, and efficiency. My company is The CEO Within You. You can check it out at www.theceowithinyou.com. I also, again, am the host of the Successes Within Reach podcast. You can catch us here live on Thursdays at 8 p.m. at www.facebook.com/SIWR podcast. And it'll be uploaded on all streaming platforms on Saturday mornings. So make sure that you check us out and subscribe on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, and on YouTube. And with that, we hope everybody enjoyed it. We have to do this again. Like this was such a dope forum for the fellas.
Absolutely.
Can't wait until I have one for the ladies as well. Like this is just it's just dope. It's just dope. Thank everybody that rocked out with us. This is an hour and a half. Like this is bananas. Thank everybody in the comments. Thank everybody that dropped questions. Continue to like, continue to share it, continue to hit that heart button. You can inbox me at the SRWR podcast page on Facebook as well. And with that one, we see you next Thursday.
Peace out. Peace out. Peace out.